have a bounce it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Chelsea news video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in today's video, guys, we'll be diving through a few topics. Chelsea, according to The Athletic, could be prepared to sell Ben Chilwell if the price is right. Romelu Lukaku has supposedly agreed a 3-year contract with Napoli worth £5 million per season plus bonuses. And of course, we've got all the latest with the goalkeeping situation as well, with James Trafford, the former Man City youth goalkeeper and current Burnley keeper, the latest to be linked with a move to the club. Let's kick things off with the Ben Chilwell situation then, guys, because we knew there was stuff about Chilwell in recent weeks. You know, obviously reports suggesting that he was on Man United's list of targets for a potential new left-back as they look for someone to compete with Luke Shaw. And Chilwell's name has been mentioned there. Chilwell's name has also been mentioned just in terms of potentially moving on from Chelsea, given we have got a lot of defenders, and also given that, at least in theory on paper, he doesn't appear to suit how Enzo Maresca are looking to play in terms of being a fullback who inverts into midfield or is comfortable playing on the left-hand side of a back three. But the Athletic reporting that, you know, what we kind of knew anyway, that if an offer came in that Chelsea deemed acceptable, then they would consider selling him. Obviously, he's one of the highest earners at the club. He still does have 3 years left on his current contract. And what I would say of Chile is, like, whilst his role over the years has diminished a little bit on the pitch due to all his injuries and stuff, there is a trail of thought that he's actually a useful asset off the pitch in terms of his experience. At 27 now, he's one of the oldest players in the squad, one of the most experienced, and one of the very few who actually knows what it's like to win trophies with the club. As he's back in pre-season training, I think he comes second to Malo Gusto in the Bleep test, which they did, a little fitness test, in the first week of pre-season. So his fitness levels are there. But the reality with Ben Chilwell, guys, is that since that ACL injury in 2021, he's missed 258 days with 8 separate injuries since that point with the ACL. And look, there's no denying Chilwell's quality with when he's fully fit and at his very best. We know what an asset he is and how good he can be. The problem is those moments have been too far and few between. You know, there's not been enough of them. Last season, I think he made 21 appearances in all comps, and he didn't get anywhere near the form that we know he's capable of, that we've seen him deliver for Chelsea. And there are genuine questions to be asked about his future. You know, how well Cucurella is doing. We don't know what Renato Vega is going to be like. Obviously on big wages, as mentioned. And, you know, I don't really know what sort of price Chelsea will be looking for Ben Chilwell. Obviously, we paid 60 million quid, 50 million quid, 4 years ago. Like, we're not going to get anywhere near that. I mean, is 30 million fair? 35 million? I mean, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think a fair price of Ben Chilwell would be? I don't really know what the market value for Chilwell is right now. But look, he's got an opportunity in pre-season because Cucurella obviously won the Euros with Spain. He's not going to be on the tour of America. He's not due back until next month. Obviously, a delayed summer break. So Chilwell's got a real opportunity in the 2 weeks at Cobham we've just had and on the tour of the US to really stake a claim and take advantage of Cucurella's absence and prove to Maresca that he can play the way that he wants him to play and that he deserves to start the season as the first choice left back. I don't think Chelsea are actively looking to sell Chilwell, but at the same time, I think if decent money came in, as referenced by the Athletic report, they would be prepared to cash in. But again, I still think we'd need another left back if we were to move Chilwell on, because I just think it's a bit much to be relying on Renato Vega so soon after his arrival, and it would only be Cucurella as the only first choice left back. And I don't want to see any more of Levi Colwill at left back again this season. That's the reality of that. But yeah, Chilwell, I still expect him to be a Chelsea player come the end of the window, but you don't know how the transfer market's going to evolve. You don't know if clubs are going to get desperate. You just don't know what's going to happen. So it could be one to keep half an eye on. Obviously getting his wages off the bill would be beneficial, sure. But I think ultimately there's probably not too much of a market for Chilwell. And obviously whatever price Chelsea are thinking of asking for him, I'm not sure how many suitors could potentially meet that. But yeah, that is the latest on Ben Chilwell, guys. If we move into the goalkeeping situation, obviously, we had the reports yesterday that Chelsea are looking for a new goalkeeper. They offered Petrovic out to Serie A side Genoa. Sanchez is believed to be starting the season as the number one. But I think we all know that this new keeper that comes in, despite the briefs, will eventually become the number one at some point in this season. And Enzo Maresca, according to Fabrizio Romano, told a club in a meeting this week that he wants a new goalkeeper with good distribution. The same type of skills as Sanchez, who's expected to start as number one at the start of the season. Now, there have been links to Mamardashvili, the Valencia goalkeeper, who's a very good keeper, but the links don't make sense because distribution is not one of his strong points. But just on this goalkeeping thing, the way that the briefs are worded, we know full well that Chelsea don't believe in Robert Sanchez. A month ago, what were we told, guys? We were told that Sanchez was the number one, and we were no longer looking for a goalkeeper. That's what we were told. 2 weeks into pre-season, now suddenly we've decided that we are looking at a goalkeeper, and someone has to come in to push Sanchez. Now, what I would say on Petrovic is he performed well last season. I believe he's a better goalkeeper than Sanchez, but whether we like it or not, Petrovic isn't really suited that well to the Maresca style of play. That's the reality here. Petrovic would be a very good backup goalkeeper, even if he doesn't, fully fit the Maresca style. But let's be honest here. I think we can see what's happened is that Chelsea were needing to sort of looking to get some positive briefs out there. Because the other month, we put those briefs out that we're happy with Sanchez or whatever, because they wanted to try and open a market up for him. Now, people can believe what they want, but for me, there's not a market for Sanchez. Chelsea have been briefing this positive stuff to try and get any potential suitors for him. Look, it's clear that he definitely does suit the Maresca style of play a little bit more than Petrovic, no doubt about it. But the reality is that if there was a market for Sanchez, he would have been shipped off ASAP. And there aren't any suitors for him. So Petrovic has obviously got more of a market value, and he's got more suitors, you'd imagine. And he's going to be the guy that gets moved on. But ultimately, I think what this does highlight really is that neither Petrovic or Sanchez should be starting for an Enzo Maresca side, given their skill sets. But yeah, if you think that, Maresca and the club trust Robert Sanchez, then yeah, you're living on another planet, because they absolutely do not. And it just feels like such a waste, because you basically signed two goalkeepers, one with Maurizio Pochettino in mind in Georgia Petrovic, and the other one you've basically signed on the recommendation of a goalkeeping coach, and also probably as part of a sweetener for the Moises Caicedo deal. Signed them both on 7-year contracts, and less than a year later, you've come to the conclusion through poor managerial choices that both those goalkeepers essentially are surplus to requirements, and you don't feel they're good enough, and you're trying to look to move them on, which just kind of sums Chelsea up. In terms of goalkeeper that could be coming in, I don't really know, is the honest answer. As I mentioned earlier, the Mamardashvili links, whilst he's a good goalkeeper and a move would be good, he doesn't fit the criteria of what Enzo Maresca and Chelsea are looking for in terms of a goalkeeper with good distribution. People talk about Diogo Costa from Porto. He'd be a fantastic choice. Way too much money. Don't see the club moving for that sort of a goalkeeper. There's been links to Villarreal's Philip Jorgensen, who's got a £35 million release clause in his contract as another goalkeeper in La Liga, which the data sort of ranks favourably for him. He's the Las Palmas keeper. His name slips my mind at this point in time, but I don't think it's going to be a particularly big name or a fancy player. I think it's going to be someone relatively obscure, but obviously good distribution and suits the way that Maresca's looking to play. And whilst it might not be an immediately obvious number one, it will be a number one probably by the time Christmas comes around, because Robert Sanchez has definitely got no long-term future at Chelsea, and he's definitely the club definitely don't believe in him. That's the reality. And what we also got to realize here is that the briefings have been crap. We look desperate, and therefore the prices for other goalkeepers are therefore going to increase. That's the reality. You know, and that's where we are right now. And Sanchez would be gone if the club could sell him, but the club absolutely can't sell him. Slanina's not ready to be a number two. But yeah, anyway, look, two goalkeepers on a 7-year contract, and both aren't good enough a year after signing. Could only be Chelsea. Moving away from the goalkeeping situation, guys, it looks like, I mean, outgoings have been slow, but it appears that Romelu Lukaku could be moving closer to the Stamford Bridge exit door finally. Marzio in Italy reporting that he's agreed a 3-year contract with Napoli worth £5 million a year plus bonuses. They now have to agree to a deal with Chelsea, who want £29.5 million for him, but Napoli want to spend less. The exit clause is 38 million, so I'm not sure where that £29.5 million is coming from. Obviously, an exit is going to depend on Victor Osimhen's departure. He hasn't been on the bench, he's not been involved in either of Napoli's pre-season fixtures so far. More talks are scheduled between Napoli and PSG over Osimhen's move to Paris. So the sooner that happens, and the sooner that frees up Lukaku to move to Napoli, and Napoli will have the money to spend the £38 million exit clause on Romelu Lukaku that Chelsea have got every single right to demand. And he shouldn't be going for a penny less than that. There is no loan moves here. It's the full exit clause or bust. And we know that Napoli will have the money. So, yeah, looks like Lukaku taking a step closer. We know that he wants to go and play with Conte again. We know that he's agreed the contract with Napoli. And now it's just a waiting game for Osimhen to move on so that Napoli can then make a move for Lukaku. And the 3-year nightmare of Romelu Lukaku's return to Chelsea will finally be over, and we won't keep bleeding wages on someone who's been on loan for the past 2 seasons. So yeah, that is pretty much all the latest Chelsea news, guys. Make sure you smash the likes. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, as always. Catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace out, guys.